The world could fucking end right now, and that's cool. I don't have any regrets about the things that I can't change anyway. A big huge fucking asteroid could smash us all to bits, and I'd be cool with that. It was worth every minute, cause I got ska.
Two-Tone Miles here, and today we're reviewing Third Wave Undead by the Holophonics. I've got to thank one of my Facebook friends for referring me to this band, as I was first discovering this band at around the same time Third Wave Undead was dropping. So the Holophonics have made an excellent first impression. The Holophonics are out of Denton, Texas. They've put out 3 releases in the span of about a half a year. A cover album called Masquerades, Volume 1, which is an excellent blend of sarcasm and playing it totally straight. A Christmas novelty album, Masquerades Volume 2, Happy Skanica. And most recently, Third Wave Undead, a set of original tracks. Now the name Holophonics may be derived from the holophoner, an instrument featured in the TV show Futurama, one of my favorite TV shows. My suspicions on the matter have all but been officially confirmed at this point. They've been a bit coy about where the name comes from. You can buy their music on theholophonics.bandcamp.com, and I highly encourage you to do so. Okay, so enough background, let's get to the review, because I'm really excited to talk about this one. Third Wave Undead by the Holophonics is, simply put, must-listen material. This is top-shelf stuff all the way. An instant classic. I really can't recommend this one highly enough. It's sad to think that people who don't like Third Wave Ska will probably pass on this one. But for fans of Third Wave Ska, this album hits a lot of high notes. The vision and execution here is just sublime. And if you have any fondness for 90s Third Wave scene and its players, this album is likely to blow your mind. The album is one great, elaborate inside joke, and whether or not you get it hinges on your own opinions of Third Wave Ska. So rather than talk about every individual track, as I tend to do on my other reviews, I want to focus on the vision and direction of this release, and how it all comes together to make just an incredibly compelling package. See, I find it interesting to watch new ska bands on the scene, and to see how they identify themselves, given the history of ska. There are a lot of new acts that are going strictly traditional, adhering to the mold the Skatalites set out. There are bands out there with a definite two-tone sound to them. Now, it's difficult to really identify oneself as a two-tone band, because two-tone really kind of captures a political movement, but there are definitely bands out there that are heavily two-tone influenced. And there are other bands who will identify themselves as part of a nebulous, still undefined fourth wave, as part of a new ska, as it were. But it's clear from this release that the Holophonics, they've identified themselves as a third wave act, and they really commit to this. And it's in that commitment to that identity that gives this album just an incredibly tight cohesiveness. Third Wave Undead is the reanimation of the shambling corpse of the 90s third wave ska boom, seen through modern eyes. It can be horrifying to look at times, but the results here are nothing short of mind-blowing. This album perfectly mixes tongue-in-cheek sarcasm with genuine sentimentality. It's not afraid to knock some third wave idols from their pedestals and take them to task for subpar release and outputs. It's loud, it's in your face, it's self-deprecating, it's delightfully self-aware. It's fucking brilliant is what it is. It's an album that serves as a scathing takedown of 90s excess, and yet a glowing praise of the same scene, all in the span of a single CD. This is an album that's been distilled from the minds of fans of Real Big Fish, less than Jake Catch-22, who have had years to reflect on those watershed releases. I love how many of the tracks themselves are spiritual successors to 90s classics. I Wanna Sell Out is a logical extension of Sell Out. Real Big Fish told you don't start a band, and now they've got to make amends for that on Sorry for Starting a Band. Denton Rock City ain't too far from Gainesville Rock City. And who needs 5-state drive when you can do 8? I love the throwbacks to Keys Be Nights on Ska Is Dead. I can swear the horn riffs, some of them sound really familiar. Like, hey, isn't that Johnny Quest familiar? So let's dig into some of the tracks. We're gonna start with I Wanna Sell Out. Those who remember Sell Out remember an anthem about signing papers, cashing in artistic integrity, going from toiling in obscurity to fortune and fame. And I Wanna Sell Out is saying, yeah, we'd love to be considering whether or not to sell out or keep artistic integrity, but those opportunities, they're just not presenting themselves. Maybe it's the state of the recording industry or the state of current tastes in music, but ska ain't exactly selling these days. And so this track points out that, yeah, we'd love to sell out, but we're too busy busting our ass, and it ain't exactly an option. There's some great lyrics on this track, like, I want to be sponsored by Coke and Pepsi at the same time. And I really love how the crux of selling out is a spot in a 90s teen comedy. This track is just delightfully sarcastic. So in a way, it's kind of heartbreaking to listen to this track back to back with Sorry for Starting a Band. Now, I Wanna Sell Out is a preening desire for excess, while the stripped down Sorry for Starting a Band is heartbreakingly honest. It's one thing to aim for the sweet life and fall short. It's something entirely different to not have acquaintances and peers even give you and your music the time of day. It's, is anybody even listening? Message hits you like a punch to the gut. Some of the highlight tracks for me include Third Wave Undead, dwelling on those times when everything seems to go to shit, and the CDs you love from back in the day, they help you get through the tough times. I've definitely been there before. Now, I'm personally not going to argue against Hello Rockview, but I'm going to add my own take and say that back in the day, I was much more of a losing streak and borders and boundaries kid. And while we're on the subject, I gotta say that Greetings and Salutations are a welcome return to form for me. I also really like 12-21-12 about the end of the world. Its infectious chorus of I've got ska, 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 it just really gets stuck in your head. It has an infectious energy that just puts a smile on my face and makes me want to get up and dance. Thanks for the 90s, it's probably the ballsiest track on the CD. I mean, they bust everybody's chops on this one. From calling out Dickie Barrett for his TV announcer gig, to saying Anthem was poppy shit, to calling out Streetlight for straying too far from their roots, to Gwen Stefani for pretty much anything done after 2000. It's all in good fun, but it stings a little to know where ska was on MTV, on the radio, and reflect how marginalized it is in these latter days. It looks to the 90s legendary bands and says, dude, you guys not banging out the hits or touring as much is really hurting the scene. It's hurting all of us. I mean, let's be honest here. No doubt, they can fend for themselves. But what about all those other young bands on the scene busting their ass for that big break? The lyric, because if we make it one day, we'll owe it all to you, that's one that invites further dissection. Is the only hope for ska's return to prominence in nostalgia achieving some sort of critical mass? Do we need No Doubt in order to make ska relevant once again? Why can't it be a new band with the talent to make it happen? And I'll submit that the Holophonics, they've got all the necessary tools to make that happen. I wish them all the best in their endeavors, and I hope they'll make Portland, Oregon a tour stop on their way to the top. As one final aside, I do want to say these guys flex some major chops on Get Rude, proving that they've got some traditional roots as well. Roots I think they should continue to explore on future releases. Third Wave Undead points the finger at ska fans and says, "Okay, rude boy, the 90s are long gone. Most of the greats, they're just nostalgia acts at this point. The torchbearers have dropped the torch. There's no one left to pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ska's vanished from the radio. A lot of the bands in the scene are total shit. So, rude boy, what the fuck are you still doing here? What the fuck are you still doing here?" And you look in the mirror, and you have to wonder, my God, what if they're right? What if it is time to hang it all up? And herein lies that inside joke, that perfect execution, that bait and switch. What the fuck are you still doing here? I'm having a great fucking time. That okay with you? I think we're all part of the scene because we're having way too much fun to ever give up on it. The people you meet at shows are fucking great. The bands playing gigs have nothing but love for the genre. And then you realize that the only people who could produce this kind of music are so hardcore about ska. These are the guys that eat, sleep, breathe, live and bleed third wave ska. This album is nothing short of incredible. A capstone of an era 15 years in the past. I really hope this album finds the recognition it deserves in 2013. Put this one on the shelf next to Keasbey Night's Losing Streak, Turn the Radio Off, Let's Face It, and Dub 56. It totally deserves to be there. So let's recap. Brilliant. Instant classic. Top shelf material. It manages to simultaneously put down the third wave scene and glorify it. The vision and execution here is so admirable. I could talk at length about this one, and to a point I already have. This is the longest review I've ever put together. I think this album has a lot to say, and I just love every second of it. But don't take my word for it. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up for yourself, and form your own opinion. In closing, we're going to leave you with some of the title track, Third Wave Undead, which is the last track on the release. I just want to highlight one last example of brilliant commitment to a vision that makes this album shine so brightly. I love that ending anthemic chorus and guitar riff of Ska Is Not Dead. Listen though to how the vocals and instrumentals drop out, and how the power anthem turns into a scream of horror, as if standing over the corpse of Ska and wondering, are we the lone voice in the night? Are we the last ones? Are we all that's left? I don't know. But I'll party with you guys till the bitter end. I'll skank till my legs give out. Speak truth, play roots, ska for life, man. I can't wait to hear what these guys do next.
Ska is not dead!